Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Penrite Insights with Penrite Racing. You got myself, Jack Bell, Shippy and Al with me. We'll go over Adelaide, a bit of a wrap up of the season.
Yeah, so obviously Thursday and Friday we had some quite
changeable
conditions to deal with. So Thursday we had a full wet session, probably our first full wet session of the year. So we did a fair bit of work then, just tuning the car for the wet weather, checking our tyre pressures on the wet tyre, and preparing ourselves for if the rest of the weekend was wet. We thought Friday was going to be wet. Some of the weather forecasts were predicting that Adelaide would be washed into the ocean, but it didn't actually turn out that way.
And then, because Friday went back to dry, it sort of reverted back to where we thought we were going to start Thursday, and all our plans that we'd done back at the shop, we just carried that over onto Friday and went through those. And like you said, cars were pretty fast out the gate, so we didn't have to go searching too far.
It was great to get both cars into the shootout on Friday afternoon, heading into Saturday, and great for Dave. He put together a solid lap. Unfortunately, Matty's wasn't the best. Yeah,
it's a little bit of a shame. Like we knew after qualifying, we still had more that we could show. And Matt was doing a fantastic job on his lap up until turn 9. I was watching telemetry. He went through 8 really strong, and we watched him bomb it into 9. And we thought, yeah, that was pretty deep. And sure enough, watching the video, he just ran a bit wide, and it was pretty much over at that point. We just lost too much time, and it's all so close these days. So that was what sort of sealed our shootout. But Dave still managed to do a really good job for the team.
Yep. Yeah, Dave did a very solid professional lap. We didn't quite think he was going to put it on provisional pole when his lap was on. He was about a tenth and a half down going into the last corner. So we were pretty surprised when he popped into P1. I certainly was. He did a magic job in the last corner. Put in P2 at the time. But then Brody was able to, I think, get him by 0.02 of a second, about 200 millimetres, I think, be about the distance measurement of it. But still P2, great place to start off the front row. And then leading into the race, we had a really strong race car. We were able to pass Brody early on, get into the effective lead. But Waters came at us, and he was very strong through the middle of the race. And he was able to overtake us just prior to the last stop. We did a good job around that last stop, got him back out on track in front of him, but on cold tyres he just couldn't keep that position.
Unfortunately our race with Matt didn't quite go quite as well as yours with 26 on the Saturday. Matt got a reasonable start, got through turn 1 and 2 all right, and then turn 3 is quite a fast left-hander, and being a street circuit, tracks are often quite dirty, especially offline, and this was no different. He sort of got caught out a little bit wide out on the marbles and out in the dust, and just ran wide, understeered into the wall, and caused some damage to the rear of the car. He came over the radio straight away, let us know what was going on with the car, which was really good of him. And then we knew exactly what we needed to change once he came in. So we had to replace a tow link on the car. The boys hooked into it straight away, but it just took a little bit too long to make the change. They were battling a pretty stubborn bent bolt through the upright. So they got it done, but at this point we'd lost, I think, about 5 laps correcting the damage. So we went back out, and we still tried to learn as much as we could on that day, and I think that really set us up to springboard into the next day. We just tried to learn as much as we could about the race car and get Matt in the swing of things for managing the tyre throughout the length of the race. So.
Yeah, Saturday was really a day of what might have been on the 19 with the mistake in both sessions. Yeah, really, it was a really fast car after we got it repaired. So.
Yep. Yeah, considering it still wasn't perfect in terms of damage, we're watching the lap times relative to our competition, and we were doing a really solid job. So going into the next day, both Matt and I and the rest of the team felt pretty confident in this pace.
Yeah, another great quali on Sunday morning. Both cars into the shootout again.
Yeah.
And pretty epic provisional pole lap by Matt, I think he was 3/10 clear there at that point.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He's looking really good heading into the shootout.
No, he did a fantastic job. Like, obviously, we learnt a lot on the Saturday. He learnt a lot himself, and come Sunday, he pretty much executed everything that we needed him to do. The competition's so high, Brody just managed to find that little bit extra. Yeah. But for Matt and I to start on the front row going into the race, we were pretty ecstatic by that. So Al, it was a little bit of a switcheroo come Sunday versus Saturday.
Yeah, we swapped over the mistakes in the shootout this time. Dave got a little bit overconfident on his lap, thought he had more grip than he actually did, and got the curb strike at turn 2. So you immediately just abort the lap and come into pits, and that resigns you to 10th on the grid. So we had to start from there.
It was still great to have both cars, starting in the right end of the field. That bit of separation probably made things a little bit easier than when we had to manage the double stack risk throughout the race. Pitting Dave that bit earlier helped us to separate them and ensure the best possible result for both cars.
Yep. Yeah, so for us coming from 10th, it was sort of a bit of a recovery mission, I guess. We were out of position in terms of pace. Dave did a great job in the early laps to stay out of trouble, sort of avoid what happened to Matt the day before. And then slowly started to pick some cars off. I think then we made a good strategy call at that first stop to put him in a nice little gap behind Brody and Brock. And he was able to race up to them. Got past Brody, but Brock had a little bit too much pace, and that limited us from getting the 1-2 that we were trying to get sort of from the halfway point in that race. But obviously Matty did the job.
Yeah, Matty had an awesome race and did a fantastic job. He got a great start, one of his best for the season, and confidently entered turn 1, got in front of Brody, and then it was just eyes forward for both of us. We knew we had a pretty fast car in those opening laps as we were sort of extending that lead from Brody and the rest of the field, and that was really advantageous for myself to be able to pick a nice fuel load for that first stop, get a little bit more advantage over the field, and then to Matt's credit, he managed the tyre and managed the stint. Some of his best work all year, I would have to say, and we were just able to creep out a little bit more over the field throughout the next stint, and then come the last stint, we had a pretty healthy lead and we could just manage that to the end. So yeah, fantastic race, and led to our first win together, which was very special.
Yeah, look, it was the number one strategy point that there is. Fast cars win races.
Yep.
Made the rest of it easy.
Yep.
Yeah, so leading into next year, bit of continuity for car 19, but a few changes on the 26.
Yep. Yeah, obviously young Dave's moving on to pastures anew, which is a bit sad for all of us involved. I've been working with him for close to 7 years now. Had a lot of success along the journey, but it was really positive, and I was really happy to be able to sign off the year in such strong ways. 4 podiums in a row. Can't get much better than that, and the win on the Gold Coast. So it was fantastic to be able to sign off like that. He's done a lot for this team, from where we came from 3 years ago when he first joined up to get to where we are now. Sad to see him go, but excited for the future with Richie. I think he's super motivated, super fast. It's going to be exciting to see what we can do together.
Yeah, absolutely. Really exciting to get Richie in, and thank you to Dave for all his contribution over the last few years.
Thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of the Penrite Insight, as well as tuning into all our episodes across the year. Myself, Shippy and Al have enjoyed bringing them to you. We hope to bring you more next year and build on the success that we've had at the back end of this year. Exciting times ahead in 2024.